In Willow Creek, silence grips the Holt house like a vice, swallowing the echoes of a once vibrant life. Ezra Holt stirs, heart racing, as the walls seem to whisper a buried truth. Beneath the bed, a crumpled condom wrapper lurks, a ticking bomb in a 24-year marriage. What secret festers in the shadows, and will it shatter everything before the clock strikes their milestone? Welcome to Addy Story, where we share real-life stories that touch the heart and inspire the soul. Subscribe now to join our community, relax, and dive into the stories we have for you. Enjoy. The silence descends like a shroud, an eerie stillness that follows the cacophony of years gone by, where echoes of chaos and laughter once danced upon the walls, now hauntingly absent. Lila ventures into the bustling marketplace of Willow Creek, her heart racing with anticipation and uncertainty. She claims it's merely a trip for groceries, but deep down, I sense the truth lurking in the shadows. Knowing her, she'll return with more than just essentials, perhaps a trinket for the house, or even a small surprise meant just for me. The anticipation hangs thick in the air, a whisper of secrets yet to unfold. In a world where intentions often go unnoticed, her thoughtfulness emerges like a beacon in the darkness, leaving a lingering question. What lies beneath her seemingly simple gestures? Each act is a thread woven into the fabric of a deeper mystery, compelling those around her to wonder what secrets she holds close to her heart. After 24 years of shared secrets and whispered dreams, the countdown has begun. In just 1 month, we will stand on the precipice of a monumental milestone, our 25th anniversary. What lies ahead? Only time will reveal the truth of our journey. 25 years. A span of time that looms like a shadow, stretching across the landscape of memory, each moment a heartbeat echoing in the silence of the past. That thought crashes into me with a force I never saw coming. It seems like only yesterday. My heart raced as I clutched the ring in my pocket, grappling with the overwhelming fear of stumbling through a proposal that could shatter my dreams and leave me utterly humiliated. And here we stand. 2 children transformed, lost to the echoes of time. The house loomed around me, its walls stretching and expanding as if it had come alive, swallowing me in its eerie embrace. With Theo and Nora now away at college, the house stands eerily silent, echoing with the memories of laughter and chaos that once filled its walls. As the clock ticks down, Theo stands on the precipice of his final year, the weight of anticipation heavy in the air. Nora stood on the precipice of her sophomore year, the air thick with anticipation and uncertainty as the shadows of the unknown loomed ever closer. The absence is palpable, a haunting echo that lingers in the shadows, leaving an unsettling void that whispers of what once was. The house once thrummed with the pulse of life, its walls echoing with laughter and whispers. But now, it stands shrouded in an eerie silence, as if holding its breath, waiting for something, anything, to break the stillness that has settled like a heavy fog. Theo's music thundered from his room, a cacophony that drowned out the tension brewing between Nora and Lila over curfews. The relentless buzz of their friends, like shadows flitting in and out, added to the charged atmosphere, each arrival and departure thick with unspoken secrets. Now, it's just me and Lila, the silence stretching like a taut wire between us. When she's out like this, the weight of solitude presses down, leaving only me in the shadows, waiting for the unknown to unfold. The moment had come. I could no longer linger in the cocoon of my sheets. A sense of urgency pulsed through me, compelling me to rise from the depths of slumber. Lila would undoubtedly burst into laughter if she laid eyes on me now, sprawled out like a weary retiree, the clock barely inching past mid-morning, as if time itself conspired against my restless spirit. With trembling fingers, I reached for the bottle of vitamins resting ominously on my nightstand. The cap clicked open, a sound that echoed in the silence, and as I tipped one out into my palm, a shiver ran down my spine. What lay ahead was uncertain, and the weight of that tiny pill felt heavier than ever. Yet, it slipped through my fingers, evading my grasp, leaving me in a whirlwind of uncertainty. The small, round pill teetered precariously on the edge of the table before it took a fateful leap into the abyss below. It struck the floor with a sharp thud, then began its relentless journey, rolling with an eerie purpose straight into the shadowy depths beneath the bed. With a heavy sigh escaping my lips, I whispered a string of choice words. The tension thick in the air as I sank to my knees, my heart racing with the urgency of the moment, desperate to reclaim what had slipped away. The shadows loomed larger than I had anticipated, enveloping me in an unsettling darkness, while an eerie scent of dust, long forgotten, clawed at my senses. My fingers roamed in the darkness, grazing against the remnants of forgotten days. Dusty lint, and the ghost of an old sock, a relic of Theo's presence before he vanished into the unknown of college life. Then my fingers tightened around something unexpected, thin and crinkly. An anomaly that sent a shiver down my spine. I extracted it from the shadows, my heart pounding in my chest as the weight of the revelation crashed over me, a chilling dread settling in my gut. A crumpled condom wrapper, a silent witness to a night filled with unspoken desires and lingering tension, lies abandoned, its secrets waiting to be uncovered. In that fleeting instant, my thoughts vanished into an abyss of uncertainty. I found myself frozen on the floor, clutching the object in my hand as if it were a relic from another world, pulsating with secrets yet to be unveiled. In that fleeting moment, a shroud of confusion enveloped my mind, leaving me teetering on the edge of uncertainty. Who on earth could that be? The silence is deafening, an unsettling void where footsteps once echoed. No one has dared to tread this forsaken ground. Silence enveloped the empty space, a haunting void where laughter once echoed. No guests arrived, no parties ignited the night. Only an unsettling stillness lingered, thick with anticipation and unspoken secrets. For the past 3 months, it has been only Lila and me, trapped within these walls, the silence thickening with each passing day. And then, like a thunderclap, in the stillness, another thought struck me, sending a jolt of dread through my chest. In the shadow of Nora's birth, a decision loomed. A vasectomy, a finality that would alter the course of our lives forever. We made the fateful decision that 2 children would suffice, and I plunged into the depths of that choice without a single question lingering in my mind. What dark secret lies beneath our bed, concealed in the shadows? A single condom wrapper, a silent witness to a night shrouded in mystery. Why is it there? The question hangs heavy in the air, thick with tension and unspoken truths. In that moment, it slithered into my mind, an unwelcome thought that I desperately tried to banish, yet it clung to me like a shadow, refusing to be ignored. Lila is betraying me in the shadows of deceit. Rage surged within me, a seething tempest, fierce and unyielding, yet I forced it deep beneath the surface. What was I going to do? The weight of uncertainty hung heavy in the air. a palpable tension that threatened to consume me whole. Every heartbeat echoed with the urgency of the moment as I stood on the precipice of a decision that could change everything. Time seemed to stretch, each second a haunting reminder of the choices that lay before me, shrouded in shadows and whispers of doubt. She burst through the door, the air thick with tension, as if the very walls were holding their breath. What awaited her was a confrontation that would change everything. Lila had no idea that the storm was about to unleash its fury the moment she stepped inside. Brandishing a condom wrapper as if it were a smoking gun, the tension in the air thickened, each heartbeat echoing the weight of the moment. That path would lead me to a dead end, shrouded in shadows and uncertainty. Would she truly deny it? Or could it be that they twisted all back against me, leaving me exposed and vulnerable? No, I required something far more substantial than this fragile piece of plastic to face her. With a surge of adrenaline coursing through my veins, I sprang from my bed, hastily slipping into a worn pair of jeans and a shirt that felt like armor. My fingers brushed against the cold metal of my keys, a chilling reminder of the uncertainty that awaited me beyond the door. The house loomed ominously, its very walls whispering secrets, each shadow lurking with a menacing intent. In the depths of turmoil, I felt the weight of my thoughts pressing down on me, suffocating. There was only one person who could help me navigate this storm, and I was determined to seek them out. Silas Kane, a name that echoes through the shadows of the deep, a whisper of dread that sends shivers down the spine. What secrets lie beneath the waves, waiting to be uncovered? The very mention of him stirs a tempest of fear and intrigue, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond the horizon. No, not the swashbuckling pirate of the silver screen, but the true Silas Kane, my old comrade, a masterful private investigator whose skills could unravel the darkest of mysteries. It was a name forged in the crucible of the Navy, a title that clung to him like a shadow, haunting him even as he traded the sea for the unforgiving streets of Redwood Hollow. The echoes of his past whispered through the alleys, a reminder that some identities are impossible to escape. In a world shrouded in shadows and uncertainty, he was the only one who held the key to unraveling the enigma that haunted me. The weight of the truth hung heavy in the air, and I knew that if anyone could pierce through the veil of deception, it was him. As I stepped into his office, the air thick with tension, I found Silas reclined in his chair, his feet casually resting on the desk, a chipped mug clutched in his hand, the steam rising like a ghostly whisper in the dim light. He lifted his gaze, a sly grin spreading across his face, and rose to meet me, his hand extending with a grip that promised both strength and intent. "Ah, if it isn't the infamous Ezra Holt," he declared, his voice dripping with intrigue as he gestured for me to take a seat, the air thick with unspoken tension. "What dark twist of fate brings you here, shrouded in mystery and intrigue?" For a heartbeat, I faltered, the weight of unspoken truths constricting my voice. But then, with a surge of resolve, I unleashed the torrent of my secrets. The condom wrapper lay there, a silent witness to my growing suspicions, while a gnawing feeling twisted in my gut, relentless and unforgiving, refusing to fade into the shadows. Silas sat in silence, his expression grave, absorbing every word with a steady nod, yet never daring to break the tension with a single interruption. As I concluded, he reclined in his chair, his fingers brushing against the graying stubble on his chin, a silent storm brewing in his eyes. "Very well, Ezra. I will assist you, but grant me a week. In that time, I shall uncover what lies beneath the surface. But heed my words. Before we embark on this perilous journey, I implore you to ponder a crucial matter. Should this truly be what you suspect, brace yourself for the storm that is about to unfold. Seek the counsel of a lawyer." As the weight of the thought settled in, a cold shiver ran down my spine. The implications loomed large, casting a shadow over everything I held dear. My stomach twisted in knots, a visceral reaction to the chilling reality that he was, undeniably, correct. With a hushed breath, I whispered, "I will do that." The weight of the words hung in the air, thick with unspoken tension. Silas rose to his feet, a sudden intensity in his gaze as he clamped a hand on my shoulder, the weight of his touch sending a shiver down my spine. "We will uncover the truth behind this, Ezra. I swear it." I nodded, my heart racing, thanked him with a voice barely above a whisper, and stepped out of his office, the wrapper searing a hole in my pocket, a reminder of the secrets that threatened to unravel. 2 hours later, I found myself ensnared in Gideon Cole's office, the man himself reclining in his chair, his piercing gaze dissecting me like a hawk poised to strike its unsuspecting prey. He had earned his reputation as the best divorce lawyer in Redwood Hollow through a series of high-stakes battles, each one more intense than the last. Whispers of his cunning strategies and ruthless tactics echoed through the corridors of the courthouse, leaving a trail of shattered dreams in his wake. In a world where love turned to betrayal, he thrived, ready to unleash his formidable prowess at a moment's notice. The man was a predator, lurking in the shadows, his intentions as sharp as his teeth. If there was one soul capable of delivering the unvarnished reality, it was undoubtedly him. As I laid bare my predicament, a heavy silence enveloped the room. Gideon, with a furrowed brow, meticulously flipped through the pages of his legal pad, each scribble a potential lifeline or a harbinger of doom. At last, he raised his gaze, a storm brewing in his eyes. "Ezra," he warned, his voice low and heavy with foreboding. "If this spirals into the abyss you envision, prepare yourself to lose everything, half of it at least. Everything hangs in the balance: assets, savings, the house. The weight of it all is suffocating, a ticking clock echoing in the silence, each second drawing closer to an uncertain fate. In the heart of Oregon, a web of shared fortunes and hidden secrets intertwines, where every asset holds the weight of 1,000 untold stories. This is a land where the bonds of partnership are tested, and the stakes are higher than ever. In the shadow of uncertainty, a stark division looms, an unyielding 50-50 split, a balance teetering on the edge of fate, indifferent to the chaos that surrounds it. Halfway there, a precarious balance hangs in the air, teetering on the edge of uncertainty. Half of everything I had fought for, teetering on the edge of oblivion. All that Lila and I had painstakingly constructed, now teetering on the brink of collapse. The blow landed with a ferocity that took my breath away. Yet amid the searing pain, a singular truth clawed its way to the surface of my mind. Half my life hangs in the balance. My fortune teeters on the edge. My home stands vulnerable. Yet the thought of remaining bound to a betrayer is a fate I refuse to accept. Gideon leaned in, his gaze piercing through the shadows, as if he could pluck the very thoughts from my mind. His voice dropped to a whisper, thick with tension, sending a shiver down my spine. "If you truly intend to pursue this, Ezra, heed my words carefully. lower your gaze and blend into the shadows. Do not, under any circumstances, provide her with even the slightest hint that you are aware of her true intentions. Should she catch a whiff of the brewing storm, she won't hesitate to summon her legal arsenal, plunging us into a chaotic abyss of complications. I nodded, the gravity of his words pressing down on me like an impending storm. With a steely resolve, I declared, I will give it everything I have. As I stepped out of his office, a heavy weight pressed upon my mind, yet a fierce resolve ignited within me. I had to maintain my composure, even as the turmoil within threatened to consume me whole. As I stepped through the door, a sense of foreboding washed over me. There she was, Lila, her knife glinting ominously in the dim light of the kitchen, methodically chopping vegetables for dinner. The air was thick with tension, each slice echoing like a heartbeat in the silence, hinting at secrets yet to be revealed. Her gaze lifted, a smile flickering across her lips as I stepped into the room, the air thick with unspoken tension. Her face, a haunting mask of normalcy, concealed the tempest brewing beneath the surface. A wave of tension surged through my chest, yet I summoned every ounce of strength to return the smile, masking the turmoil within. Tomorrow, a business trip awaits, I declared, my voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension as I leaned against the counter, the weight of unspoken possibilities hanging in the air. For the entire week, I will vanish into the shadows, leaving behind a silence that echoes with uncertainty. That fateful night, as shadows danced in the dim light, Lila slipped into bed beside me, her hand grazing my arm like a whisper of danger in the dark. The air crackled with tension as she drew nearer, her intentions unmistakably burning in the space between us. "Come on," she whispered, her voice laced with an urgency that sent shivers down my spine. Yet, I found myself unable to do so. "I'm tired," I whispered, my voice barely breaking the silence, heavy with an unspoken weight. She halted, a heavy breath escaping her lips, as she turned slowly to confront the shadows lurking on the other side of the bed. In the suffocating darkness, I lay motionless, my gaze fixed on the ceiling, as a tempest of thoughts swirled violently within me. Could it be that I was teetering on the edge of a monumental error? What if the condom wrapper belonged to someone else? The chilling thought sent shivers down my spine, igniting a storm of uncertainty and betrayal. The air thickened with tension as the implications loomed larger, casting shadows over trust and loyalty. What secrets lay hidden beneath the surface, waiting to unravel? The truth hung in the balance, and the stakes had never been higher. What if it was Theo's? The mere thought sent shivers down my spine, igniting a storm of uncertainty that threatened to unravel everything I believed. The shadows loomed larger, and the air grew thick with tension as the implications of that question hung heavily in the silence. What secrets lay buried beneath the surface, waiting to be unearthed? The truth was a ticking time bomb, and I could feel the countdown begin. He lingered in our room for a few fleeting nights, a ghost of familiarity, before vanishing into the unknown of college, leaving behind only the echoes of his presence as his own room was transformed by fresh strokes of paint. What if it slipped from his grasp, lost to the shadows of uncertainty? Or perhaps I was merely clutching at shadows, desperately attempting to persuade myself that this was not the harrowing reality it appeared to be. But then again, what if it was precisely the nightmare I had dreaded all along? What if, in the shadows of our love, Lila was betraying me? What if the very foundation of my trust was crumbling and I was blissfully unaware? The thought sent chills down my spine, igniting a fire of doubt that threatened to consume me whole. The questions clawed at my mind, ripping apart the very fabric of my determination. Yet, as the shadows loomed closer, I realized that retreat was no longer an option. The stakes had risen, and I was bound to face the storm ahead. I was compelled to follow this path to its bitter end, regardless of the shadows that awaited me. As dawn broke, I rose with a sense of urgency, hastily stuffing a small bag with essentials, my heart racing as I summoned a cab to whisk me away into the unknown. Lila lay still, a fragile figure enveloped in the shadows, her soft breaths echoing in the stillness of the night. As I gathered my belongings, a sense of foreboding washed over me, and with a heavy heart, I closed the door, sealing away the haunting tranquility that lingered in the air. The journey to the outskirts of Redwood Hollow unfolded with an eerie calm, the familiar cityscape gradually surrendering to desolate roads and the haunting silhouette of abandoned structures lurking in the distance. The motel loomed before me, a shadowy silhouette against the fading light, just as I had anticipated, utterly unremarkable, yet somehow foreboding. In the shadows of a world where secrets linger, a place emerges, affordable yet shrouded in an air of mystery. It promises a semblance of purity, a facade of cleanliness, all while cloaked in the veil of anonymity. What lies beneath this seemingly simple facade? The tension hangs thick in the air, waiting to unravel. It was exactly what I'd been searching for, a revelation that sent shivers down my spine. I checked in, my heart racing as I dropped my bag onto the bed. I sank into the worn mattress, my gaze fixed on the peeling wallpaper that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Time stretched and twisted, each hour dragging on like a shadow, lurking just out of sight. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the room, my phone erupted into a cacophony of sound, shattering the stillness of the approaching night. It was Silas, the name that echoed through the shadows, sending chills down spines and igniting a fire of uncertainty in the hearts of those who dared to whisper it. The air thickened with tension, as if the very walls held their breath, waiting for the next move in this unfolding drama. "Ezra," he uttered, his voice steady yet laced with an unmistakable urgency that sent a shiver down the spine. Lila stepped out of the house, the door creaking ominously behind her as shadows danced in the fading light. The air was thick with anticipation, each step she took echoing with uncertainty. What lay ahead was shrouded in mystery, and the world outside seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the next move. She has slipped into the shadows of a motel, the air thick with secrets and unspoken fears. My heart raced, a sudden jolt of fear and anticipation coursing through me. Which path shall you choose, knowing that each step could lead to unforeseen consequences? The weight of the decision hangs heavy in the air, a palpable tension that quickens the heart. Will you dare to uncover the truth that lies ahead? He lingered in silence, the weight of his words hanging in the air, before finally breaking the tension with a hesitant utterance. "The very motel where you find yourself sheltering tonight?" I perched on the precipice of the bed, my heart thundering in my chest as the oppressive silence enveloped me, a heavy shroud that threatened to suffocate. The very idea of Lila's presence in this desolate motel consumed my thoughts, igniting a fire of unease within me. When Silas called again, his voice dripped with an unsettling calmness, yet beneath it lay an undeniable urgency that sent shivers down the spine. "She's in the room next to yours, Ezra," he whispered, his voice barely breaking the heavy silence that hung in the air. "Hear me now. Do not approach her. The consequences could be dire. The moment hangs heavy in the air, charged with unspoken tension. This is neither the time nor the place for what looms on the horizon. Step away from this charged atmosphere. Seek refuge in another space, and let the tension dissipate." The tension hung thick in the air, a silent storm brewing within me. And despite my best intentions to remain calm, I found myself unable to hold back any longer. "No, Silas," I said, my voice trembling with urgency. "I must uncover the truth. I must hear it for myself." Silas breathed out, a heavy sigh escaping his lips, his frustration palpable in the tense air. "Very well, but tread carefully. One misstep could lead to dire consequences." "Promise me, Ezra," I whispered, my voice barely escaping my lips. I nodded in agreement, though the tremor in my hand betrayed my resolve as I hung up the phone, the weight of the moment crashing down around me. The minutes dragged on, each second a torturous eternity, until, without warning, I caught the faint echo of voices seeping through the fragile walls. In the dim light, shadows danced around me as I strained to decipher the muffled conversation. Lila's voice, laced with an urgency I couldn't quite grasp, mingled with that of a man whose identity remained shrouded in mystery. The air thickened with tension, each syllable hanging like a fragile thread, ready to unravel at any moment. A haunting, enigmatic resonance that sends shivers down the spine. Then, the truth emerged, a revelation that sent shivers down my spine. They were entwined in a passionate embrace, and Lila's cries echoed through the silence of the night. But it was the sound that followed, a chilling whisper of betrayal that twisted my stomach into knots. "I can't fathom why you remain by his side," the man declared, his voice laced with a chilling disdain that hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. "He's a relic of the past, a shadow of his former self, unable to ignite the fire within you, isn't he?" Lila's voice pierced the silence, breathless and laced with an emotion that felt foreign, almost unrecognizable in the shadows of the moment. "No, he can't," she declared, her voice slicing through the air, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. In a world filled with fleeting moments and empty encounters, you stand out as a beacon of something extraordinary, a rare gem that has ignited a spark within me after what feels like an eternity. He's just so ancient now, a shadow of the vibrant spirit he once was. The man's laughter echoed through the shadows, a cruel, mocking sound that sent chills down the spine. "So, tell me, what binds you to him still?" Her reply pierced the silence, swift and unwavering, as if the very air held its breath in anticipation. "I demand that he maintains the flow of the bills. Now silence your tongue and continue to excel in your craft." I remained paralyzed on the precipice of the bed, each muscle coiled tight, every breath a struggle against the suffocating silence that enveloped me. The voices from the next room persisted, their laughter a corrosive force, gnawing at the very edges of my sanity. The weight of it all became unbearable, a suffocating darkness closing in around me. I rose to my feet, fists tightly balled, poised to burst through the door and confront the chilling horror that awaited me. Just as I prepared to move, the door to my room creaked open, and there stood Silas, his face a mask of foreboding. With a grip that felt like iron, he seized my arm, anchoring me in a moment suspended between fear and uncertainty. "Don't!" he warned, his voice a chilling whisper that cut through the air with an undeniable authority. Not like this. Let me go, I hissed, desperation clawing at my throat as I struggled to break free. But Silas's grip only tightened, a vice of unyielding resolve. Listen to me, Ezra, he commanded, his voice a low growl that brooked no dissent. The window stands ajar, a silent invitation to the unknown. My camera whirs to life, capturing every fleeting moment, every whisper of truth. This is it, the evidence you crave, the proof that will unravel the mystery lurking in the shadows. Should you burst through those doors at this very moment, it will be you who finds yourself behind bars, and that will unravel everything in the divorce, leaving you utterly devastated. I fixed him with a seething glare, my breath coming in ragged gasps, my vision clouded by a tempest of fury. I don't care about the divorce, I growled, my voice low and filled with a simmering intensity that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. I yearn for their reckoning. Silas edged forward, his grip tightening like a vice, a storm brewing in his eyes. And you will, he declared, his voice laced with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. But not like this. Consider this, Ezra. If you let go now, you forfeit it all, everything you fought for, everything you hold dear. The stakes have never been higher. In that fleeting moment, I fought against him with every ounce of strength I could muster, rage simmering within me on the brink of eruption. Yet in that moment, Silas emerged as an unyielding force, his words striking like a chilling slap across the cheek, reverberating with an unsettling intensity. Gradually, the fierce spirit within me began to wane, consumed by an insidious tide of despair that threatened to engulf my very soul. I collapsed onto the bed, my hands gripping my head as the weight of despair threatened to consume me. In that moment, I was shattered, stripped of dignity, utterly at the mercy of forces beyond my control. The woman I had cherished and confided in for more than 20 years was just beyond the thin wall, dismantling the very foundation of our lives, piece by agonizing piece. After an agonizing silence that stretched like a taut wire, I rose to my feet, my jaw clenched with determination, my fists quaking with unspent energy. I will have my revenge, I declared, my voice a chilling whisper, each word igniting a fierce blaze within me. She may strip me of my possessions, but I will unleash chaos upon her world, as if she shattered the very foundation of my marriage and obliterated the trust I once held dear. As the door clicked shut behind Silas, I found myself ensnared in the shadows of the dimly lit motel room, my mind a whirlwind of chaos, grappling with the weight of the events that had just unfolded. My body was a leaden mass, burdened by the crushing weight of 1,000 stones, each one pressing down with relentless force. The plan was deceptively straightforward. Remain hidden for 3 long days while Silas shadowed Lila, his every move a ticking clock of uncertainty. That was the pact, sealed in shadows and whispers, a promise that hung heavy in the air, fraught with unspoken consequences. Yet as I sat there in solitude, the weight of the unfolding events bore down on me like a relentless torment, each passing moment stretching into an eternity of anguish. As the clock ticked ominously, the shadows danced around me, and when Silas's call finally pierced the silence of the night, I was a tempest of anxiety, pacing the room with fists that clenched and unclenched in a frantic rhythm, haunted by her words, echoing relentlessly in my mind. His voice on the other end of the line was a chilling calm, methodical and measured, as if he were weaving a web to ensnare my thoughts and keep me tethered to reality, even as the shadows loomed closer. As the shadows lengthened, she and the man slipped out of the motel, their fates intertwined in a web of secrets, Silas whispered, his voice barely breaking the tense silence. The moment I laid eyes on the evidence, a chill ran down my spine. I had a name, Jasper Quinn. The weight of that revelation hung heavy in the air, a harbinger of the storm to come. He is her co-worker, but beneath the surface of their mundane office interactions lies a tension that crackles like electricity in the air, hinting at secrets yet to be unveiled. A heavy silence enveloped me, my throat constricted, parched as if the very air had conspired against my voice. Jasper Quinn, a name that echoes in the shadows, a figure cloaked in mystery, poised on the brink of revelation. What secrets lie beneath the surface of this seemingly ordinary identity? The air thickens with anticipation as the clock ticks down to an inevitable confrontation. Will the truth emerge, or will it remain buried, hidden from the light forever? The stage is set, and the stakes have never been higher. The name echoed in my mind, a hollow sound that meant nothing. Yet the sight of her entwined with a colleague sent a jolt through my chest, a piercing realization that cut deeper than I had ever anticipated. All those late nights she insisted were dedicated to work. Silas pressed on, his voice steady yet laced with an undercurrent of tension. I will remain vigilant, my eyes fixed on the unfolding events. For now, remain where you are, just as we promised. The tension hangs thick in the air, and every moment feels like a ticking clock, counting down to the unknown. Every moment counts, and the stakes are higher than ever. Do not dare to act until we have secured every last piece of the puzzle. With a trembling voice, I barely managed to utter a response before the line went dead, leaving an unsettling silence in its wake. The hours that stretched ahead were a torment, each tick of the clock echoing like a heartbeat in the silence, a relentless reminder of the impending fate that loomed ever closer. With each agonizing tick of the clock, a haunting reminder echoed in my mind, pulling me deeper into the shadows of my choices and the secrets shared with the one who held my fate in their hands. The following day, the phone rang once more, and it was Silas on the other end, his voice laced with urgency. His updates were brief, sterile, yet each word struck with the force of a devastating blow, leaving a lingering ache in its wake. She has been slipping away into the shadows of Jasper's domain, where secrets linger and whispers echo in the stillness. Once again, the familiar routine unfolds, gathering in the shadows of the office, lingering long after the sun is set, as the clock ticks ominously towards the unknown. I've gathered a trove of footage, each frame a piece of a puzzle that could unravel everything. I remain silent, my fingers clutching the phone with a vice-like grip. And she's been entangled with him every single day, Silas revealed, his voice unwavering. Yet I could feel the tremor of uncertainty lurking beneath the surface. In the shadows of Jasper's home, she embarks on a perilous journey, her heart racing with every step she takes. The air is thick with tension, and the stakes have never been higher. Before the shadows of night enveloped the world outside, I found myself in Gideon's office, the air thick with tension as I faced Gideon and Silas. What secrets lay hidden in that dimly lit room, waiting to be uncovered? The atmosphere hung thick with tension, the blinds tightly shut, as shadows danced ominously across the room, infused with the lingering, intoxicating aroma of leather and coffee. Gideon reclined in his chair, fingers interlaced in a tense tableau, while Silas loomed by the window, arms crossed, a storm brewing in the air between them. "We're sticking to the plan," Gideon declared, his voice cutting through the tension like a knife, resolute and unwavering. "Ezra, return home at once. Maintain your composure and ensure she remains oblivious to the truth lurking just beneath the surface. The evidence Silas has gathered looms like a dark cloud, heavy with the weight of truth, ready to unleash a storm of revelations. Yet, as the clock ticks on, each calculated move we make only fortifies your position, weaving a tapestry of undeniable strength around your case." With a solemn nod, Silas acknowledged the weight of the moment, his heart racing as unspoken tension hung in the air. "Ezra, you must maintain your composure. The stakes have never been higher." Silence hung in the air, a fragile truce that could shatter at any moment. Every heartbeat echoed with the weight of unspoken tension, a precarious balance where one wrong move could unravel everything. No confrontations, no slip-ups, only the looming dread of what might come next. Let her believe that all is well in the shadows of deceit. In the shadows, I will remain vigilant, monitoring her every move, ready to intercept any unexpected scheme she may dare to conjure. My heart raced as I swallowed hard, the knot in my stomach tightening with an intensity that felt almost suffocating. "I comprehend," I uttered, my voice unwavering even as a tempest raged within me. "Leave it to me. I will take care of it." Gideon leaned forward, his gaze piercing, a storm brewing in his eyes. "Excellent. Now heed this warning. If you allow your composure to slip, you forfeit your power. Hold on to that thought with every heartbeat as you step into that house." As the weight of the moment pressed down on me, I inhaled sharply and gave a solemn nod, the air thick with unspoken tension. As I stood on the precipice of departure, I meticulously scrutinized the details one final time, the weight of the moment pressing down on me like a storm brewing on the horizon. The looming shadows of what lay ahead pressed down upon me, a suffocating force that threatened to extinguish my resolve. Yet deep within, a fierce determination ignited, compelling me to confront the darkness that awaited. As I stepped through the door, the air thick with anticipation, I found Lila in the kitchen. Her face ignited with a radiant glow at the sight of me. A moment suspended in time, fraught with unspoken tension. "You're back," she said, her voice laced with an unsettling cheerfulness as she stepped closer, her arms poised as if to embrace me, but the air crackled with unspoken tension. I recoiled, my hand instinctively lifting in a desperate plea for pause. "Hurry," I implored, urgency lacing my voice. A chilling thought creeps into my mind. I may have been exposed to COVID-19. A shadow looms over the office as whispers of a positive test circulate, and an unsettling chill creeps through my veins. My body betrays me, sending signals that something is amiss. The tension hangs thick in the air, and uncertainty gnaws at my mind. The thought of putting you in harm's way sends a chill down my spine. I can't bear the idea of you falling ill because of me. Her expression twisted into a mask of worry, shadows creeping into her eyes. Alas, the dread has descended. Are you truly all right? Are you experiencing any unsettling signs? A mere whisper of discomfort lingers in my throat, a subtle warning of something more sinister lurking beneath the surface. I deceived, my voice steady, concealing the tempest brewing within. Yet, a chilling sense of foreboding grips me, compelling me to retreat to the guest room for a few days. It's a precaution, a desperate measure to shield myself from the unknown lurking just beyond the door. Lila nodded, her expression heavy, with a weight that felt almost palpable, as if her worries were not just thoughts, but shadows lurking in the corners of her mind. Without a doubt, should you find yourself in need of anything, be it a warm cup of tea, a comforting bowl of soup, or something else entirely, do not hesitate to call upon me. In the shadows of uncertainty, a promise lingers, heavy with unspoken weight. I will take care of you. I nodded, a fragile smile barely breaking through the tension that hung in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury at any moment. Thank you. I will find a way to prevail. With a heart pounding in her chest, she paused, the weight of uncertainty hanging in the air. Do you think we should cancel the anniversary party? She finally whispered, her voice trembling with the gravity of the question. The countdown has begun, and the tension is palpable. Just a few weeks remain before everything changes forever. I shook my head, a storm of emotions brewing beneath my calm facade. Absolutely not. That is unnecessary. In just a few days, everything will change. The storm will pass, and I will emerge from the shadows, stronger than before. But for now, the uncertainty looms, a heavy weight pressing down as I brace myself for what lies ahead. In the depths of my solitude, I shall meticulously craft the plans for the anniversary celebrations, each detail a thread woven into the fabric of an unforgettable night, shrouded in anticipation and mystery. Her expression transformed, a flicker of warmth igniting in her eyes as a smile broke through the tension, hinting at secrets untold. Such a tender gesture, shrouded in the shadows of uncertainty. I nodded once more, my heart racing as I fought to maintain my composure amidst the rising tension. Within me, a tempest raged, far from the calm facade I tried to maintain. The phone buzzed ominously on the nightstand, shattering the oppressive silence of the guest room, sending a shiver down the spine of anyone who dared to listen. As my fingers closed around the object, a chilling certainty gripped me. This was Silas. Without warning, he declared, she vanished from the office at lunchtime. Once more, she finds herself at Jasper's house, the air thick with unspoken tension and the weight of secrets lingering in the shadows. The monotony of the same routine loomed over him like a dark cloud, each day blending into the next, a relentless cycle that threatened to consume him whole. My jaw tightened, a storm brewing within me, yet I remained silent, allowing him to weave his words into the thickening air. With a sense of urgency, Silas declared, I've sent you the videos and pictures. The weight of his words hung in the air, thick with anticipation. Your inbox holds the key to everything you seek. My heart raced as I fixed my gaze on the phone, the weight of anticipation hanging in the air, before I finally summoned the courage to open the email. Before me lay the damning evidence, stark and irrefutable, a chilling testament to her treachery. Lila hesitated at the threshold, her heart pounding as she pushed the door open to Jasper's house, the air thick with unspoken secrets and the weight of anticipation. What awaited her inside? The shadows danced ominously, beckoning her deeper into the unknown. Their bodies intertwined in a dance of shadows, a forbidden entanglement that sent shivers down my spine, igniting a tempest of thoughts I dared not explore. For what felt like an eternity, I stood frozen, a silent witness to the unfolding chaos, as a bitter tide of bile surged within me, threatening to spill over. My hand clenched around the phone, a surge of tension coursing through me. A tempest of fury lurked just beneath the fragile facade, ready to erupt at any moment. At long last, the oppressive silence shattered, echoing with the weight of unspoken truths. If I weren't bound to her by the vows we once exchanged, I murmured, my tone icy and distant, I might find a twisted pleasure in these videos. But now, the air hangs heavy with uncertainty, a palpable tension that grips the heart and quickens the pulse. What lies ahead? The shadows deepen, and the silence is deafening. Her mere presence churns my stomach, a tempest of disgust brewing within me. A heavy silence hung in the air on Silas's end, a moment stretched thin before he finally broke it with his words. His tone was a calculated whisper, each word dripping with an unsettling calm that sent shivers down the spine. The weight of uncertainty hangs heavy in the air, Ezra. I understand the struggle, but the clock is ticking, and the inevitable draws near. 7 days in isolation stretched on like an endless nightmare, each moment a test of my resolve. Yet deep within, I understood that I had to adhere to the plan, no matter the cost. Lila remained blissfully unaware, ensnared in the confines of her own reality, oblivious to the dark shadows lurking just beyond her perception. As the moment approached for me to emerge from the shadows of isolation, I steeled myself, summoning every ounce of composure I could grasp. The air crackled with tension, and the unknown loomed ahead, waiting to unveil its secrets. I summoned every ounce of strength to return to her side, masking the turmoil within, pretending that the world had not shifted beneath our feet. She was filled with an insatiable longing, a desperate hope that the past could somehow be resurrected, that the shadows of what once was might return to engulf her once more. Yet, as she reached out to draw me near, I resisted her grasp, a storm brewing in the depths of my heart. Though a tempest raged within me, I declared my weakness with a calmness that belied the chaos swirling in my soul. The weight of the evening hangs heavy on my shoulders, and I find myself questioning whether I possess the strength to face whatever lies ahead. Tonight feels like a shadowy abyss, and I hesitate to step into its depths. Her brow furrowed deeply, a storm of worry brewing within her as she sensed the weight of the moment pressing down like a heavy shroud. Ezra, a shadow looms over you. Illness has gripped your very being. You must tread carefully, for the path ahead is fraught with uncertainty. I will, I declared, though a shiver of unease coursed through me. But I'm really not feeling great. The following day, a sense of urgency grips me as I prepare to confront the shadows of uncertainty. I must face the truth head on and seek a complete STD check, for the weight of the unknown looms heavily over me. The truth loomed before me, a shadowy figure in the darkness, and I was desperate to uncover it. I could feel the weight of impending doom pressing down, urging me to tread carefully, lest I stumble into a catastrophe from which there would be no escape. The clinic moved with a chilling efficiency, each moment stretching into an eternity as I fought to suppress the gnawing dread of what the results might reveal. Yet, an insatiable urge clawed at my insides, demanding the truth, no matter the cost. As I stepped through the door, a sense of urgency gripped me. The clock was ticking, and the air was thick with anticipation. I began to send out invitations for the anniversary party, each one a carefully crafted message that held the weight of unspoken secrets and uncharted emotions. In the shadows of my mind, I called upon the faces, concurrent of family, the laughter of friends, each one a flickering light in the encroaching darkness. Who could I trust? Who would answer the desperate summons of my heart? The party was in full swing, and I was determined to ensure that everything unfolded flawlessly, no matter the cost. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting long shadows across the room, the phone rang, shattering the stillness with an ominous urgency. My children reached out, their voices crackling with anticipation, assuring me they would arrive to join in the celebration. A fleeting spark of warmth ignited within me at the echo of their voices, but like a candle in the wind, it was extinguished almost instantly. Later, Lila approached me, her demeanor unexpectedly gentle, as if a storm had passed and left a fragile calm in its wake. "I love you, Ezra," she whispered, her voice trembling with an intensity that hung in the air like a fragile thread, ready to snap at any moment. In the depths of my heart, a tempest of joy swells, for you are not just my partner, but my husband, the anchor in the storm of life. I offered her a fleeting smile, hollow and devoid of warmth, as shadows danced between us, hinting at the unspoken truths lurking just beneath the surface. The mask clung to my face, a silent sentinel of secrets untold. I am acutely aware of your presence, my dear. After a week of anticipation, the fateful day loomed on the horizon, shrouded in uncertainty and tension. The haunting echoes of the anniversary celebration lingered in the air, a reminder of what once was and what could never be again. Shadows danced in the flickering candlelight, each flicker a heartbeat, each heartbeat a whisper of secrets long buried. As the clock struck midnight, an unsettling tension gripped the room, leaving everyone on edge, wondering what revelations everything was poised on the brink of revelation. The house thrummed with an electric tension, a crowd of shadows and whispers swirling in the dim light, each face a mask of secrets waiting to be unveiled. Their voices pierced the silence, laughter reverberating ominously off the walls, a haunting melody that lingered in the air, thick with tension. Amidst the swirling chaos of voices, congratulations echoed like distant thunder, each word a reminder of the fortune that had graced my life. Yet beneath the surface of their praise, a shadow loomed, whispering secrets of the beauty that had masked the storms of the years gone by. Lila stood there, a vision of brilliance, her smile illuminating the room with an almost ethereal glow, masking the secrets that danced behind her eyes, secrets that only the shadows could whisper about when the guests were gone. She had extended an invitation to her colleagues from the office, naturally. But little did they know the storm that awaited them. In the dim light of the gathering, Jasper stood, a shadow among shadows, his wife by his side, both cloaked in an air of unspoken tension. What secrets lay between them, hidden beneath the surface of their seemingly ordinary presence? The night was thick with anticipation, and every glance exchanged hinted at a story waiting to unravel. An electric tension crackled in the air as I observed their furtive glances, each one a silent confession of unspoken desires. Lila clung to me, her presence a desperate anchor, while he lingered in the shadows, feigning interest in a conversation that felt like a mere distraction from the storm brewing between us. The decision weighed heavily on me, a silent storm brewing within. I chose to keep the doors closed, leaving no room for the familiar faces of my colleagues. Not a single soul from the office would cross the threshold into my private world. I had the power to invite them in, to let them cross the threshold into my world, but a chilling instinct held me back. The shadows whispered warnings, and I knew deep down, that their presence would unravel the fragile peace I had fought so hard to maintain. No, I chose solitude over the chaos they would bring. I couldn't risk it. Not now. Not ever. Not while this elaborate deception unfolded before their very eyes. Lila sensed an unsettling absence, the silence of my colleagues echoing ominously around us. But I had a response ready, a carefully crafted shield against the growing tension in the air. "They're ensnared in a crucial meeting," I asserted, my voice a velvet whisper, carefully crafted to leave no room for suspicion. It was a truth, cloaked in shadows, a whisper of deception that danced on the edge of reality. It was merely a whisper of creativity, a flicker of truth in the shadows, yet the presence of anyone from my office felt like a looming specter I could not bear. As the door swung open, Lila's parents stepped inside, their faces alight with a mix of joy and disbelief. They enveloped us in a whirlwind of congratulations, their voices a symphony of praise that echoed through the room, each word heavy with emotion and unspoken hopes. I willed a smile to grace my lips and uttered my thanks, yet within me, a tempest of discontent brewed, far from the facade of joy I portrayed. Little did they realize the dark reality lurking just beyond their grasp. They remained blissfully unaware of the dark truth that lingered just beyond their grasp, a secret that could shatter their world in an instant. Lila clung to me like a lifeline throughout the evening, her arm wrapped tightly around mine, her smile unwavering, a mask of practiced enthusiasm as she faced the crowd. Each greeting felt like a carefully choreographed performance, hiding the storm brewing beneath the surface. Her determination to showcase an illusion of perfection was palpable, a facade meticulously crafted for the world to admire. Yet beneath the surface, a tempest brewed within me, consumed by the haunting question of how long I could maintain this charade before the truth clawed its way to the surface. The evening unfolded with an electric energy, a whirlwind of laughter and whispered secrets, as guests mingled, their faces painted with joy and hidden intentions, each congratulation laced with unspoken tension. It hung in the air, a tantalizing whisper of perfection that threatened to unravel at any moment. And yet, a chilling whisper echoed in my mind, urging me to remember that this was merely the deceptive stillness before the tempest unleashed its fury. Then, like shadows emerging from the depths of night, Silas and Gideon arrived. The air was thick with anticipation, a palpable tension that crackled like electricity. I stood on the precipice, heart racing, knowing that the moment I had long dreaded was upon me, the moment when everything would shatter into chaos. Weeks of meticulous planning had consumed me, each detail crafted with precision, as the tension mounted and the stakes grew higher. The moment had arrived. The air crackled with tension as the plan was set to unfold. I implored Lila to release her grip, her touch a haunting echo of the torment I had suffered. She offered a smile, her eyes sparkling with innocence as she welcomed our guests. Little did she know, a storm was brewing just beyond the horizon, ready to shatter her tranquility. I approached the colossal screen we had meticulously installed for this momentous occasion, and as I positioned myself before it, the lights began to fade into an ominous darkness. In an instant, the veil of invisibility was torn away, and I stood exposed before the gaze of the crowd, their eyes piercing through the shadows that had cloaked me for so long. With the mic clutched tightly in my trembling hand, my heart raced like a wild drum in my chest. Yet I summoned every ounce of courage to push through the storm of fear that threatened to engulf me. As I stood before them, A tempest raged within, yet my voice remained unwavering. "I am grateful that everyone is here tonight," I declared, the weight of unspoken truths hanging in the air, thick with tension. Each person in this room holds an irreplaceable place in my heart, as well as in Lila's. The weight of our connections hangs heavy in the air, a palpable tension binding us together in this moment. The crowd whispered in hushed tones, their heads bobbing in agreement, smiles flickering like shadows in the dim light. For the past 24 years and 6 months, I have been bound to Lila, a bond forged in the fires of time. Yet now, shadows loom over our shared history. Lila crept in, her voice a mere whisper, laced with an urgency that sent shivers down her spine. "Absolutely not. It's a staggering 25 years. A smile crept across my lips, a small yet knowing expression, as I turned my gaze toward her, the air thick with unspoken tension. "Allow me to unveil the truth, my dear." As I pivoted toward Silas, my heart raced at the sight of him clutching the imposing, meticulously wrapped portrait-sized gift, its very presence shrouded in mystery and anticipation. "Silas!" I called out, my voice slicing through the thick tension in the air. With bated breath, I implore you to unveil the gift destined for my beloved wife. With each step toward the stage, Silas's heart raced, the weight of the gift in his hands feeling heavier than ever. The air crackled with anticipation, and the eyes of the crowd bore down on him, a silent storm brewing in the depths of their gazes. Lila, her smile unwavering, approached him, positioning herself beside her parents, the air thick with unspoken tension. Unbeknownst to her, a storm was brewing on the horizon, and the shadows whispered secrets she had yet to uncover. As her father meticulously peeled away the layers of wrapping, an electric tension crackled in the air, thickening with every moment. Each heartbeat stretched into an endless abyss, time itself hanging in the balance. The moment the image flickered to life, the shock etched on Lila's face was a haunting reflection of the turmoil brewing within. Yet witnessing her reaction only deepened the tension, making it an agonizing spectacle to behold. In the dim light of the room, Lila loomed over Jasper, their bodies entwined in a passionate embrace, the air thick with tension and unspoken desires. Her scream shattered the suffocating silence, a chilling cry that echoed through the room, and her father's response unfolded exactly as I had foreseen, a harbinger of the storm to come. Seething with rage, a tempest of fury brewing within. "Ezra, what is the meaning of this?" The air thickens with tension as the question hangs in the silence, each word laced with urgency and uncertainty. What secrets lie beneath the surface, waiting to be unveiled? "This is a very sick joke," he shouted, his voice a tempest of fury that nearly eclipsed the shock coursing through me. My eyes flickered towards my father-in-law, a tempest of fury raging within me, yet I fought to maintain a facade of tranquility in my voice. "This is no laughing matter. What you see before you is merely a glimpse, a tantalizing preview of the video that is about to unfold, a moment that promises to captivate and enthrall." The image was merely the prologue, a haunting prelude to the storm that was about to unfold, and I had steeled myself for its arrival. With a sense of foreboding, Silas approached the controls, each click of the buttons echoing ominously in the silence. Then, as if summoned by an unseen force, the video surged to life on the colossal screen, casting shadows that danced with anticipation. Lila loomed over Jasper, her presence a tempest of tension, as the haunting words she had uttered in the video reverberated ominously through the air, filling the room with an electric charge of uncertainty. Her voice, a haunting echo of what it once was, slipped through the air like a ghost, barely recognizable and filled with an unsettling tension. I'm holding onto him solely to ensure the bills keep coming in. The weight of those words crashed into me like a fist to the stomach, yet I had faced this storm before, and this time it barely grazed my heart. The silence that enveloped the room was heavy, almost palpable, pressing down like an unseen weight, leaving no room for breath or thought. The weight of countless gazes bore down upon me, yet I stood my ground, unwavering in the storm of scrutiny. A figure emerged from the shadows, clad in a black suit, his serene demeanor heightening the eerie atmosphere that enveloped the moment. He advanced with a relentless determination, his gaze fixed ahead, oblivious to Lila, whose expression remained frozen in a haunting mix of disbelief and horror. He approached her, each step heavy with purpose, and extended the manila envelope, his voice low and laden with unspoken weight as he delivered a single, chilling sentence. "Mrs. Holt, the moment has arrived. You have been served." Lila stood paralyzed, her heart racing as her hand hovered over the envelope, a silent battle raging within her. The weight of the unknown pressed down, yet she dared not break the seal. Her eyes flickered like a candle in the wind, darting between the man and me, as confusion and fury battled for dominance on her face. She parted her lips, ready to unleash the truth, but the words clung to her throat like a vice, choking her resolve. In an instant, the man pivoted, striding past her with an air of determination, heading straight for Jasper. There he stood, a statue of tension, his face a tumultuous blend of shock and remorse, as if the weight of unspoken truths hung heavily in the air between them. The man in the black suit loomed before him, an air of authority cloaked in shadows. "Mr. Quinn," he intoned, his voice unwavering, "you have been served." Jasper's heart raced, his eyes widening in disbelief as he grasped the envelope, a cold sweat trickling down his spine. He stole a glance at Lila, her expression a mix of confusion and dread, as the weight of the moment hung heavy in the air, thick with unspoken tension. Yet just as the words hung on the tip of his tongue, the man slipped away, his movements fluid and practiced, as if he were a ghost haunting the shadows of countless encounters past. With each step, the man approached the CEO, the air thick with tension, as if the very walls held their breath in anticipation of what was to unfold. The room constricted around her, a palpable tension thickening the air as the man drew near, his footsteps reverberating ominously against the walls. With a trembling hand, he presented the CEO with the envelope, the weight of those familiar words hanging in the air like a storm cloud, ready to unleash its fury. "Mr. Larson, the moment has arrived. You have been served." The CEO, a figure I once held in high esteem, grasped the envelope with a tense grip, his brow furrowing deeply as the weight of the moment bore down on him, draining the color from his face as he grappled with the unfolding crisis. What is this? A chilling enigma that beckons from the shadows, shrouded in mystery and intrigue. The air thickens with anticipation as the answer teeters on the brink of revelation, waiting to be uncovered. He asked, his voice trembling with an unspoken fear that hung heavy in the air. But the man remained silent, his gaze averted as he swiftly turned and vanished from the room, leaving an unsettling tension in the air. "Mr. Larson," I began, my gaze piercing through the tension that hung in the air, each word measured, heavy with unspoken implications. A storm brews on the horizon. A lawsuit looms, a fierce battle ignited by the company's failure to uphold its own moral code. The stakes are high, and the consequences could be devastating. As the clock struck noon, the office fell silent. The hum of productivity replaced by a palpable tension. Employees slipped away, their laughter echoing down the hall, but little did anyone know the dark rendezvous that awaited them. Secrets simmered beneath the surface as they ventured homeward, drawn into a web of temptation and forbidden desires. What would unfold in the shadows, where morality blurred and passion ignited? The air was thick with anticipation, and the consequences of their choices loomed ominously on the horizon. The room hung in a heavy silence, each person grappling with the weight of the shocking events that had just unraveled before their eyes. Larson's face contorted, a tempest of confusion and fury brewing within him. Yet I remained unfazed, my resolve unyielding. He had woven himself into the very fabric of this treachery, a silent accomplice in the shadows. I faced Jasper, the very architect of my betrayal, the one who had not just dismantled my trust, but obliterated the very foundation of my marriage. Mr. Quinn, the moment has arrived. You stand accused of shattering the very foundation of my marriage, charged with the grave offense of alienation of affection. The weight of your actions looms heavy, and the consequences are about to unfold. The words reverberated through the room, each syllable striking with a piercing intensity that left a lingering ache in the air. But then, like a moth drawn to a flickering flame, my gaze was irresistibly pulled toward Lila. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding in my chest, but I refused to let myself falter. She was the one who had inflicted the deepest wounds upon my soul, the one who dared to tread this treacherous path, shattering all that we had painstakingly constructed. And in a moment that shattered the silence, Lila, the papers were thrust into your hands, divorce papers, a life unraveling before your very eyes. Her eyes widened in terror, and her lips quivered as if they were on the brink of revealing a dark secret. Yet my journey was far from over. I felt an urgent need to illuminate the truth that lay shrouded in shadows. I was driven by an urgent need to make her see the truth, to pierce through the veil of misunderstanding that hung between us like a thick fog. The stakes were high, and time was slipping away. I could feel the tension crackling in the air, a palpable force urging me forward. She had to understand, or everything would unravel in the shadows of uncertainty. It is a truth that echoes through the corridors of time. 24 years and 6 months of a bond forged in the fires of love and trials. Yes, it is true. But the stark reality is, our marriage took its last breath the moment you chose to betray me with him. The words lingered on the tongue, a sharp, acrid flavor that sent shivers down the spine. Yet, they were the undeniable truth, and I refused to veil it in sweetness. It began, shrouded in mystery, 6 long months ago, a dark thread weaving through the fabric of our lives, pulling us deeper into a web of intrigue and uncertainty. The flicker of guilt and anger danced in her eyes, a tempest brewing beneath the surface. Yet I remained unfazed, my heart steeled against the storm. The weight of her decision hung in the air, thick with tension. And now the moment had arrived for me to confront my own fate. Your reasons are irrelevant to me now, I declared, with my voice sharpening, the weight of my words echoing ominously throughout the room. Ignorance is a refuge, a veil shrouding the truth in shadows. I stand at the precipice, teetering on the edge of revelation, yet I choose to turn away. The weight of knowledge is a burden I refuse to bear. Leave my house. Now. In that fleeting moment, a profound realization surged through me, igniting a spark that reverberated deep within my core. The final curtain had fallen, and the echoes of what once was lingered in the air, heavy with finality. The days that followed that fateful moment stretched on, each one a torturous eternity of anticipation and uncertainty. Yet, the turmoil raged on, relentless and unyielding. Lila's parents were unyielding, their voices echoing in my mind as they bombarded me with calls, their relentless presence looming at my door, desperate to sway me from what they deemed a reckless choice. They fell to their knees, desperation etched on their faces, imploring me to find it in my heart to forgive Lila, to grant her yet another chance at redemption. Ezra, you have no idea what you're about to uncover. Lila is ensnared in a tempest of turmoil, her mother declared with a sense of urgency. Her eyes, brimming with an unsettling concern, pierced through the shadows of uncertainty. Time has woven an intricate tapestry of shared moments, binding your lives together in ways that are both beautiful and haunting. Amidst the shadows of uncertainty, a flicker of hope emerges. You possess the strength to navigate this treacherous path. The challenge looms large, but within you lies the power to conquer it. Will you rise to the occasion? The choice is yours, and the stakes have never been higher. Her father, a man typically shrouded in silence, suddenly broke the tension with a bold and unyielding declaration. To cast aside 24 years is to unravel a tapestry woven with countless threads of experience, emotion, and sacrifice. Can you truly bear the weight of such a decision? Consider the fate of the family. Consider the weight of all that you have forged in unison, the fragile threads of trust and ambition woven into a tapestry of shared dreams. What if it all hung in the balance, teetering on the edge of an unseen precipice? Yet, an unwavering determination surged within me. The moment had arrived, and I stood resolute, a storm brewing within me. No force in this world could sway my choice. It was final, etched in the very fabric of my being. The betrayal sliced through the heart like a dagger, leaving a wound that throbbed with the weight of unspoken truths. The finality of the moment hung heavy in the air, a chilling realization that there was no turning back from this dark abyss. Their desperate pleas echoed in my mind, but I was unmoved, impervious to their well-meaning counsel that hung in the air like a thick fog, suffocating and relentless. Time and again, I had extended my hand to Lila, offering her the opportunity to unveil the truth. Yet, she had made her choice, a choice steeped in betrayal, cloaked in deception. The final curtain had fallen, and the echoes of what once was lingered in the air, heavy with the weight of finality. Yet against all odds, Lila pressed on, her resolve unyielding in the face of despair. As the weight of our shared history hung heavy in the air, she unleashed a bizarre excuse, a desperate attempt to twist the narrative, leaving me reeling in disbelief. As the hearing unfolded, her eyes brimmed with unshed tears, and she turned to me. Her gaze a desperate plea that pierced through the tension in the air. "Ezra, please," she began, her voice trembling with urgency, as if the very air around them thickened with unspoken tension. Her voice trembled, a fragile whisper on the brink of breaking. My world has been engulfed in turmoil, each moment heavier than the last, as shadows loom ever closer. In the shadows of my mind, a tempest brews, a hormone imbalance, a silent puppeteer pulling at the strings of desire. It whispers to me, igniting an insatiable hunger for intimacy, a craving that cannot be quenched. What lies beneath this fervent yearning? A mystery waiting to unravel, a truth that could change everything. The words hung in the air like a dark cloud, heavy with disbelief. You failed to deliver what I so desperately needed, and in that moment, reality shattered around me. I was left grappling with the impossible truth of what I was hearing. After all that had transpired, this was the feeble excuse she dared to offer? As I cast a glance at Gideon, my lawyer, a wave of unease washed over me. The skepticism etched on his face was a chilling reminder that the stakes were higher than I had ever imagined. In an instant, he sprang into action, his response sharp and immediate, as if the very air crackled with urgency. Ms. Holt, you have kept my client in the dark about this alarming hormone imbalance issue. In a chilling twist of fate, the absence of medical records and doctors' test reports looms like a dark shadow, casting doubt upon your claim and leaving the truth shrouded in uncertainty. Lila recoiled, her heart pounding as Gideon's words sliced through the air like a knife, leaving a chilling silence in their wake. Her eyes flickered downward, a sudden jolt of surprise coursing through her, as if the very ground beneath her had shifted. The judge, shrouded in an unsettling silence until this very moment, leaned forward, his expression hardening into a formidable glare that sent a chill through the courtroom. Ms. Holt, if there was even a whisper of a medical issue lurking in the shadows, why did you choose to keep it from your husband? What held you back from confronting him about it, knowing full well the devastating impact it was having on your marriage? Lila stood frozen, her silence thickening the air around us, and I could feel the tension crackling as frustration simmered just beneath the surface. The judge's gavel struck with an ominous finality, leaving her no chance to gather her thoughts as the weight of the moment hung heavy in the air. Had you genuinely faced such a dilemma, the shadows of silence should never have cloaked your voice from your husband. And now, we stand at the precipice of uncertainty, where substantial proof eludes our grasp like a shadow in the night. The court, with a heavy heart, declares that no grounds for reconciliation can be found, leaving a chilling silence in its wake. The gravity of his words hung in the air, thick and suffocating. Yet it was precisely what I had anticipated. With every word I spoke, the weight of my decision hung heavy in the air, and I realized, in that moment, there was no escape from the path I had chosen. With every passing moment, the weight of her choices bore down on me, and I found myself at the edge of a precipice, teetering between understanding and despair. I was done trying to unravel the enigma of her actions, the shadows of her intentions swirling around me like a tempest, leaving only confusion in their wake. After an agonizing 7 months of relentless back and forth, the judge's gavel fell with a resounding finality, declaring the divorce granted. The divorce had unleashed a storm of devastation, but the repercussions were far from over. Amidst the swirling tempest of chaos, Theo and Nora, my beloved children, found themselves ensnared in a web of uncertainty and peril. In the heavy air of unspoken truths, their silence loomed like a dark cloud, whispering secrets that could shatter the fragile peace. Each moment stretched, thick with tension, as the weight of their unvoiced allegiance hung palpably in the room, threatening to erupt into chaos at any moment. Fury crackled in the air, a tempest of emotion swirling around us. They directed their wrath at Lila for her unforgivable actions, yet their ire turned towards me, the one who had dared to unveil her dark secret. The tension was palpable, a silent storm brewing, threatening to unleash its fury at any moment. How could I possibly cast blame upon them? I had laid bare every secret, shattered the very fabric of the life they once cherished. Though I believed my actions were justified, a chilling realization gripped me. The path I chose had inflicted deep wounds upon them. Silence enveloped us, a chilling void where once there was connection. They vanished from our lives, leaving only echoes of what was. What could have driven them to such a haunting silence? The unanswered questions lingered, heavy in the air, as we stood on the precipice of uncertainty. The anguish clawed at my heart, yet I understood. It was their twisted method of confronting the treachery that had shattered our trust. I lingered in the shadows, a silent guardian, allowing them the solitude they so desperately needed to mend their fractured souls. The path was fraught with challenges, each step a battle against the odds. The uncertainty of my position among them gnawed at me, creating a void so profound that no solace could ever penetrate its depths. Yet the weight of my decisions loomed over me like a dark cloud, and now I was bound to face the storm of their consequences. In the shadows of uncertainty, the tides of fortune had shifted dramatically. In the aftermath of the divorce, I found myself standing amidst the ruins of my former life, my assets cruelly slashed in half, leaving me to grapple with the stark reality of loss and betrayal. All that I had toiled for, now cleaved in two, a chasm of despair stretching before me. Yet, in the midst of the chaos, as the weight of my past crumbled before my eyes, I found myself standing at the precipice of despair, unable to summon even a whisper of regret. Lila had claimed her portion, yet my dignity, my self-respect, they remained fiercely intact, a flickering flame in the encroaching darkness. I had preserved them, untouched, shrouded in silence. Jasper found himself ensnared in a web of despair, his situation growing increasingly dire. He found himself entrenched in a fierce struggle, waging a war for his freedom from the chains of his marriage. As the shadows deepened, I felt the weight of the impending confrontation. She had summoned Gideon, a force to be reckoned with, and I could sense the storm brewing. There was no escaping the inevitable clash, and I knew he would emerge from this battle forever changed, bearing the scars of a fierce struggle. He may have been the architect of my marital ruin, but his own life was crumbling, teetering on the brink of chaos. It was only a matter of time before the consequences of his actions came crashing down upon him as well. The CEO, however, was desperate for this entire debacle to vanish into thin air. With shadows lurking in every corner, he knew he had to guard his own interests fiercely. The impending public scandal threatened to unravel everything he had built, casting a dark cloud over his empire. It wasn't long before the phone rang, shattering the silence with his voice, a summons to a clandestine meeting that promised to unravel everything. The proposition hung in the air, heavy with temptation. $1 million dangled before me, a siren's call to abandon the fight and withdraw the case. What lay beneath the surface of such an enticing offer? The stakes had never been higher, and the shadows whispered secrets I dared not ignore. They craved silence, a finality that hung in the air like a storm waiting to break, and I held the key to their salvation, or their doom. The finality of my divorce from Lila hung in the air like a storm cloud, heavy and oppressive. Revenge was a tempting whisper in the shadows, but I had no intention of succumbing to its dark allure. With a heavy heart, I had come to terms with my choice. The weight of uncertainty loomed over me, but if this money could silence the storm and provide a fragile safety net as I embarked on this new journey. Then I would grasp it with both hands. In a moment that felt like an eternity, I made the fateful decision to withdraw the case. The million remains clutched tightly in my grasp, a haunting reminder of the perilous pact I forged to bring it all to a close. 3 years have slipped away like shadows in the twilight, and here I am, perched on the creaking porch of my humble farmhouse in Pine Valley. The sun descends, a fiery orb surrendering to the night, as the sky ignites in a tumult of colors, each hue a whisper of secrets only the countryside dares to reveal. The air hangs heavy with anticipation, a stillness enveloping the world around me as if it holds its breath. This is the tranquility I've yearned for, a fleeting moment that feels both fragile and profound, a sanctuary from the chaos that has haunted me for years. In the dim light of the room, I find myself encircled by my steadfast guardians, 2 German shepherds, Rex and Scout. Their unwavering loyalty radiates from their watchful eyes, piercing through the shadows, as if they are the last line of defense against the lurking dangers that threaten my peace. Every heartbeat echoes with the promise that no harm shall ever breach this sanctuary again. They are not merely pets. They are my steadfast companions, the unwavering presence that whispers to me in the shadows, reminding me that I am not alone in this vast, daunting world. The farm looms before me, small and unassuming, yet it holds a power that is undeniably mine. For an entire year, I have immersed myself in the relentless cycle of life, nurturing the chickens, toiling the earth, mending the fences that stand as barriers between chaos and order. Each day unfolds with a haunting familiarity, where the mundane transforms into a gripping saga of survival and purpose, leaving me both weary and exhilarated by the relentless rhythm of existence. It's a life transformed, a stark contrast to the shadows of my past, yet it is the very existence I was destined to embrace. In this place, I have unearthed a profound sense of purpose, a vital anchor that had eluded me for far too long, pulling me back from the abyss of uncertainty. In the heart of nature, a haunting rhythm pulses, a symphony of animals, the land, and the relentless march of the seasons. Each beat echoes with a promise, a foreboding whisper of what lies ahead. In a world that once demanded my every moment, I have finally embraced the stillness. The frantic pace has faded, and now I stand at the edge of time, poised and deliberate, as if the very air around me holds its breath, waiting for what comes next. In this haven, time warps and weaves, every second pulsing with meaning. I've learned to treasure each passing instant, as if they cradle the mysteries of the cosmos. In an unexpected turn of destiny, my children have started to reappear, emerging into my life like ghosts from a bygone era, stirring a storm of feelings and unresolved questions. In a twist that seemed almost dreamlike, Theo and Nora, the 2 spirits I thought were lost to the mists of time, have resurfaced from the depths of my past. The path has been charged with tension, and the air still hums with uncertainty. Yet I can feel the walls gradually breaking down, exposing the delicate bond beneath. Time has left its imprint on them, molding their lives into complex webs of hardship and victory. Yet with each visit, the atmosphere buzzes with the potential for change, a tribute to the struggles endured and the triumphs earned. Every shared moment is a step toward healing, a murmur of hope amid the echoes of their history. We talk of the farm, of life, of the shadows that once loomed large but now seem to recede, their burden less oppressive than before. I've abandoned, the hopeless chase for answers. In the quiet, I stand vigilant, a steadfast protector waiting for the moment they need me. The weight of their unspoken needs lingers in the air, and I'm ready to respond, whatever the cost. Whispers drift through the stillness, and the truth rises like a specter from the past. Lila has withdrawn to the refuge of her parents' home in Willow Creek, a place where secrets hover and the air is thick with unvoiced strain. From the fragments I've gathered, she's entangled in the depths of therapy, wrestling with the ghosts of her past, struggling to untangle the knotted threads of all that unfolded. Little did I know, the road ahead would be strewn with obstacles, each twist testing her strength in ways I could never have foreseen. As she faces the shadows that haunt her, a spark of compassion flickers within me, despite the looming weight of her past choices, dark like a storm on the horizon. A heavy indifference settles in the air, yet the echoes of a once treasured bond refuse to fade. How does one cut the heart's ties when memories linger like phantoms, haunting every thought? The effort to snuff out the faint glow of affection is a silent war, a constant reminder of what was lost. Yet beneath the calm exterior, a tempest churns, swirling with unspoken feelings and buried truths. The serene mask hides the storm within, where shadows of bitterness lurk, poised to strike. Resentment simmers just below the surface, a hurricane waiting to break free. But for now, I hold steady, a quiet storm brewing inside. I've let go of every last shard of it, casting off the shadows that once towered over me. In this tranquil retreat, I've come to see that holding on to rage chains you to the ghosts of the past, and I refuse to be bound by yesterday's shadows any longer. In a world once cloaked in darkness, I've finally risen from the depths of despair. For the first time in years, a spark of true joy kindles within me, lighting the way forward. As dawn breaks, I'm roused from sleep by the eerie calls of birds, their song slicing through the quiet. The breeze murmurs secrets among the pines, a chilling hint of the unknown lurking just beyond. Suddenly, the sharp barks of my dogs cut through the air, their frantic pursuit sparking a surge of urgency, as if something unseen stirs in the shadows. All that I seek is within reach, a tantalizing vow of purpose and fulfillment, ready to be claimed. Thanks for watching this story on Addy Story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a new tale. Stay tuned for more. And until next time, take care and keep living your own amazing stories.